Welcome to my 2013 edition of Dear Future Me. This is something I personally want to take on as a yearly challenge to 1. Remind myself of what was going on in the year that I posted this, and 2. To give myself some sort of advice based on whatever happened in that year's time. I'd like to think that this is the closest you can get to a real conversation with yourself. Sort of like a time capsule, but more direct and personal. So to get started, some big things happened for me in the year 2013. In January, I turned 20 years old and began my work as a peer counselor in college. I've briefly mentioned this before in other videos, but basically it's working in a shared office with other peers who are there to see clients and help them with any personal concerns. And as of the fall, I've been doing advisement for people who are concerned with their academic plans. It all means a lot to me, and it's helped inspire me to move on to other leadership opportunities as well. In February, I did the Harlem Shake for my school, and it was something that really helped me get out of my shell a lot. And I was finally able to speak to people that I was too shy to talk to beforehand. March was huge too. I went on my first peer counseling retreat with my class, and the weekend after I went on my first vacation in 7 years. I met a bunch of wonderful people at Playlist Live. I was able to connect with so many different people, and the days following that I was able to go to Universal and SeaWorld for the first time. At the beginning of this summer, I saw my extended family for the first time since my parents passed away, which was about 7 or so years. I guess it was something I put off for a while because I was just afraid of being rejected by them, because I care about them a lot and I think about them all the time. My childhood dog passed away after having paralysis in her back legs for almost a year. Around May, I had a relapse in my depression, and I realized that my priorities were really mixed up and I just didn't really know what was going on with myself anymore. Mental illness is something that not everybody understands, and the people I had around me in my life were just incapable of being able to get what I was going through, which was not their fault at all. As a person, my needs just were not being met in my relationships. The analogy I used was I was trying to fit myself into a puzzle that I just was not a part of. And that didn't mean not being myself. It meant not feeling comfortable with the relationships I had and just not wanting to be there at all. I was trying to make things work that just were not for me. Something really big for me in the past few years has been finding a girlfriend who really understands me and gets me. Because I've had a lot of failed friendships that were based around guys, and there is just a totally different genetic makeup there. So my hunt for girlfriends, it just happened in all of the wrong places. And while I thought that some of my female friendships were getting somewhere, I realized that I was only a friend of convenience to some people. Which is fine in a convenient sort of relationship, but not when I'm the sort of person who naturally gives it my all and wants to be the closest possible. Eventually this predicament carried over into my relationship with my best friend, and as of September we are no longer speaking anymore. And 6 years of friendship went down the drain completely. I think that's what hurts the most, just knowing that you went through all of these good times and bad times with a person and just that they're not there anymore. But it happens, people change, and I was just not able to handle what our relationship turned into. So basically losing a group of friends I had since high school was like literally cutting an organ out of my body. But on the account of no one except for one person attempting to speak to me during all of that time, it's probably better off that way. And you could say I got a transplant. With perfect timing, I managed to get myself into the most difficult semester of college yet. Between doing volunteer work on campus, academic advising, and peer counseling, I also had 6 classes that absolutely tortured me. I almost withdrew from one, but I suffered through and came out with an A. I'm not sure how. I barely slept. And this semester also, I kind of stopped eating, which I'm accounting to the fact that I didn't have a regular group of people to have lunch with anymore. But at this point, my peer counseling family came to the rescue and managed to offer their friendships to me when I really needed it. And it comes back to what I said about people just not understanding mental health. Being around people who can truly empathize with you is something I recommend to anybody who feels out of place in their social groups or any other groups. Despite all the crap that happened, the good stuff was able to motivate me and put me back into place. I did some video work for our second counseling retreat, created bonds with a lot of people that I didn't expect, got accepted into not 1 but 2 different honor societies, and came out with straight A's again somehow. How I did it, considering the messy start to the school year, I really don't know. But I just want to remind myself for the future that you can get out of depression and it doesn't last forever. This is something I've spoken about with my therapist a lot, how mental illness is something that never really goes away. You always need to be prepared for some sort of relapse. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. Relapsing once or relapsing 20 times does not mean that depression won. It just means that you need to continue fighting. Despite it all, I've been pretty happy. I'm starting to gain confidence in myself, starting to feel like I actually belong to a group, and I'm still growing and figuring things out, and that's okay. So to end this video on a positive note, let me know in the comments below something that you've done this year that you're proud of. As opposed to other years, this year I do have things to be proud of, and I'm proud to say that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in 2014 in the next video. Bye.
Get over here. Stop scratching the door.
You know who most deserves a drink this week? It's my birthday.